Hey guys, today we're taking a look at my Constellar deck that was suggested by a few different people, and I'll put their names in the description. So Constellars are really a toolbox deck. I've had a Constellar deck for a little while, but I decided to update it, make a new one as it was suggested a lot. So I think they could be really good. It really takes really great knowledge of your extra deck and kind of putting out what you need at the right time. But this deck is probably one of the best decks you can use for getting XYZs out very, very easily. So a lot of the cards are pretty much stable, but I'll go through them. Pollux just allows you to easily do another normal summon, so easily get out those 4-star XYZs right away. Chaos allows you to decrease levels, so this gives you access to 3, 4, 5, even 6-star XYZs if he's out long enough or using other cards. So that could be very good in order to bring out those 5-star XYZs. In addition, if you have like Pollux and Chaos, you'll get an XYZ out of a variety of different levels. And then we have Algiedi, just kind of similar to Pollux, just allows you to special summon a Constellar. Already you can see how easy it will be to XYZ with this deck. Sombre is kind of an interesting one. It kind of helps you when it starts to go to the graveyard and you start to do some things with that. It can do some things with the Tribute Constellars. This deck really isn't about that, but it's more about the fact that you can use your graveyard in order to banish and then summon more monsters. So it's really just doing the same thing as the other Constellars, but because you're capped on the other ones, you just run 3 of all these different ones that'll kind of do the same thing, but in a little bit of different ways. So outside of those main guys, I'm running Ghost Ship. Ghost Ship is a really interesting card. Allows you to swarm, allows you to bring out 5-star beater. And what's nice about this is once you start detaching some of the materials, you can bring this guy out because you won't be using your graveyard as much. It can get in the way of Sombre a little bit, but not that much. I still think it's very, very useful. And another easy way to get out 5-star XYZs, which is really nice. And then I'm running 1 Sheratan. It's up to you if you want to run more. So it's kind of a defender, but also a searcher at the same time. So it's up to you whether you want to run more. Honest in a light-based deck, obviously. Brotherhood of the Firefist Bear. You just have 1 copy of this because you're running fire formations. You might as well put one of these in because this card is so good for monster destruction. So if you don't need to search or you just want to get rid of the fire formations once you do the searching, I think it could be very useful. And then, like I said, fire formation, just to search them out. You'll be able to search out a Beast Warrior, which is really just over here, Chaos. But you can also get Brotherhood if you need it for the time being. Thunder King Rai-Oh, obviously a great card for locking down, a strong 4-star monster that can also help with XYZing because he's also a light monster. Fits in really well with the Constellars, I find. You can argue that I can get in the way of some of the searching this deck does, but you're only running it at 1, so it isn't that big of an issue. So Pot of Duality, again, people can argue that this will get in the way of your special summoning, but you really don't have a lot of draw power in this deck, so you have a mixture of searching and then kind of this. So it's up to you. I personally really like running it, just if you need certain cards and you don't get them right away. MST, Forbidden Lance, really good for protecting your monsters. And then mostly other staples, Dark Hole, Book of Moon, Reinforcement of the Army, allowing you to get Pollux, which is really good. Pollux is one of your most important ones because of how easy it is to allow you to XYZ, so getting him out can be very important. Mostly staple traps, Fiendish Chain to help you out with effects. So the extra deck, more than most decks, the extra deck is very, very, very important for how this deck works. So the cards you put in your extra deck will decide how this deck runs and how you do. So currently I'm running 2 Omega. Omega is really nice, basically making your Constellars immune to spell and traps, which is very powerful once you start swarming and bringing out powerful monsters. We have some other staples, Photon, Maestroke, Blackship, Gagaga Cowboy, Starliege Paladynamo, really, really great card, obviously, so you can run this at more than 1 if you want. I'm currently running it at 1. Prasepe can be also really interesting, allowing you to kind of gain attack in the battle phase. Some Constellar decks run this, some don't. I like having access to a monster that can, get some extra attacks, so it can be an interesting card, that's why I'm running it. And the 5-star XYZs, there's some options you can pick here, so it's up to you. I'm running Tiras, Adreus, and Shark Fortress. All really good cards. Again, it's up to you. I just like these cards and I prefer them. But again, whatever you want to pick. That's when it comes to an extra deck, you really have to consider what works well with you and what you like using. And then the other 5-star Constellar that you'll be using is Pleiades. Really, really nice effect, allowing you to bounce cards. And just the couple 6 stars, just the Constellar, because you can use a Constellar to bring this guy out. Very, very good card, a high attack, and also a nice effect for, it's bouncing, but it's also graveyard recycling, so it's kind of a mix of different things and can be very useful. It used to be limited, I believe. It's not anymore, so you can run this at 2. It's up to you whether you want to run it at 1 or 2. A lot of people have been doing different things, so again, up to you. And finally, Gaia Dragon, obviously, because you can bring out 5 and 6 stars easily, so you definitely want to have access to something like this. So for the side deck, again, the side decks in my videos are just recommended cards that also work with the deck. They aren't necessarily a side deck for matches. Effect Veiler is an option instead of Fiendish Chain. You know, can give you access to synchros, but this deck is really so XYZ heavy that you shouldn't be synchroing that much anyway. Leonis is an interesting one. I'm currently not using it. It's more for 3-star XYZs, but not that useful otherwise. Cyber Dragon can be a really good card in this deck. Kind of takes the same place of Ghost Ship. Maxx C, you know, against today's meta, this can be a very useful card. And then, you know, there's other 4-star XYZs you can use, like Diamond Dire Wolf or Abyss Dweller. Just putting this in there, you know, telling people there are options, so don't get bogged down by my extra deck. Same with 6-star and other 5-star XYZs. You know, Photon Strike Bouncer, you can't get out right away, but you can if you, you know, get Chaos up and start bumping up levels a bit. So you can bring out some things like this, but not usually recommended. Kaiser Coliseum can be a really interesting card to kind of protect your monsters from being kind of outnumbered by your opponent once you bring out your powerful XYZs. That's always a big fear, that your opponent will bring out more monsters to kind of counter you. Double Summon, another interesting card in this deck, but you don't really need it just because of how easily the Constellars can do their thing. Constellar Belt, if you're worried about your effects getting negated, that can be an interesting one. Constellar Star Cradle, recycling from the graveyard, but the thing is you already have recycling from the graveyard, and I don't like the thing where you can't use your battle phase, so. There are 5-star Constellars if you want to use Sombre's other effect. Not currently what I'm doing, but they are out there if you want to try a build with that. Constellar Meteor, also a really weird card that you can use to kind of bounce cards, but not currently what I'm running. XYZ Reborn, when you're using a lot of XYZs, this can be an interesting one to use. Up to you. Safe Zone I've seen run a bit. Very nice for protecting your monsters and against certain deck types, not what I'm using. And Breakthrough Skill, another alternative to effects. So up to you whether you want to run, you know, Effect Veiler, Fiendish Chain, Breakthrough Skill, but they all work decently well. So, you know, that's my Constellar deck. Pretty easy to see how it works. You just XYZ whatever you want for the situation. A really nice deck. Sometimes it could be a little, you know, kind of formulaic. You kind of just XYZ all the time, but it's really nice when you kind of react to what your opponent's doing and, you know, bring out whatever card will mess with them. And I think Constellars have a lot of potential. I would definitely like to see them, you know, gain more XYZs as time goes on, so they have even more of a variety of what to use, or maybe increase the extra deck size. I think that will be really interesting for this deck type. But if you have your own Constellar deck, post below. Let me know in the comments what you use, how it works. Make suggestions for my deck if you want. If you want to see more stuff from me, you can subscribe or hit the like button. I'd really appreciate it. You can also check the playlist in the description. It'll have a list of all the decks I've made so far, and there's also a separate one that has a list of all the decks for this format. And all my contact info is in there if you want to talk to me, tweet me, duel me, anything like that. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you to the people who suggested this deck. I will see you later.